The title of my editorial this morning is interesting. The Chairmanship of Christian Chukwu. The first chairman in Nigerian football was not Christian Chukwu. I repeat that. The first chairman in Nigerian football was not Christian Chukwu. He had not joined Rangers FC of Enugu or even the national team, the Green Eagles, when Emmanuel Okala was called chairman by his teammates from Rangers FC of Enugu. And that was when we all assembled in Lagos for the birth of a new Green Eagles in December of 1973. Christian was little known at the time. He captained the Eastern State Academicals to the 1973 National Sports Festival. This is understandable because most young men in the east of Nigeria at the time had lost 3 to 4 years of secondary school education as a result of the Civil War. They had to return to school as young adults to complete their education. They legitimately, therefore, played as academicals, even though they were old for that category. Christian Chukwu, Patrick Ekeji, and many others like that fell into that group. So in 1973, after the first National Sports Festival, 100 players were selected from the festival. They were invited to the National Football Camp in Lagos to form the core of a new Green Eagles. The Eagles had lost scandalously to Zambia in an African Cup of Nations qualifier, and the country wanted a new team of players with a new coach. So Chukwu joined the national team straight from his role as captain of the Academicals in 1973. And thereafter, he joined Rangers in 1974. I know this because I was also invited from the festival to the national camp. I, however, represented Western State in the senior category, even though Chukwu was older than I. That's where Chukwu and I first met. Like Chukwu did with Rangers, I also joined IICC Shooting Stars thereafter in 1974. At the national camp from December 1973 and for the next year or two, it was Emmanuel Okala that was referred to as chairman. Ernest Okonkwo had not come into the picture at that time. We didn't even know him. The more famous radio sports commentator was actually Ishola Folorunsho. They used to call him, "It is a goal." For a goalkeeper, Emmanuel Okala was a novelty. Nigeria had never had or seen a person as tall become a goalkeeper. It was unthinkable how a person about 6 feet 6 inches tall would defy gravity and stop ground shots. Yet, here was Emmanuel Okala, a real giant of a man, manning the goalposts of a new club called Rangers from the heart of the conquered territory of Biafra. Rangers emerged on the scene straight from the battlefields and made an immediate impression by getting to the finals of the 1970 FA Cup in their very first try. They started to showcase a towering giant between their goalposts, a player that broke all the norms to become the tallest goalkeeper in the whole of Africa. Okala became a one-man football circus sought after by fans as a spectacle all over the continent. Emmanuel Okala was the most recognizable football figure out of Nigeria in Africa. Several years later, he became the first and only goalkeeper in Africa to be named the continent's best player. But that title did not quite hit him, despite his imposing height and a hand span like that of an eagle in flight that appears to cover the entire width of the goalposts. Tallest was more appropriate, and that was exactly what Ernest Okonkwo did between 1975 and 1976 when he started his incomparable radio commentaries, and Christian Chukwu appeared on the football horizon like a tempest. So Ernest Okonkwo did the essential and everlasting adjustments. He rechristened Emmanuel Okala Tallest and transferred the chairmanship of Nigerian football to the man whose persona, conduct, and character on and off the football field fitted the title like a well-tailored Italian suit. That's why Chukwu emerged on the Nigerian football scene, a man with a mission and a role carved out for him by the elements. He deservedly rose through the ranks in football to earn his position as captain of Rangers of Enugu and eventually as captain of the national team of Nigeria, sustaining a tradition established by Godwin Achebe and Victor Odua, his immediate predecessors, that both captained their respective clubs, Rangers FC and Benel Insurance, as well as the national team. So, despite having senior players in both teams, particularly the national team, Chukwu's courage on and off the field marked him out as a born leader, one that players deferred to and looked up to for inspiration on the football field. He brought a new dimension to the central defense area. He must have copied copiously from the football handbook of the Kaiser, Franz Anton Beckenbauer, the legendary captain of the German national team, one of the greatest players of all time, that introduced and perfected the Libero system in world football. Chukwu was a libero in that mold, taking care of all balls behind his co-defenders, never conceding cheap fouls, was economic with his tackles that could hurt his team. Chukwu played calmly and elegantly, poetry in motion, a beauty to behold on the ball. His passes, long and short, were launched and delivered with precision as if measured with a tape. He would occasionally transition smoothly and almost effortlessly from defense to attack, and he would deliver superb, long-range, deadly shots at opposing goals. That's why he scored several goals for the national team. 5 goals in 54 games. He was a general, marshalling his defenders and organizing them on the field while playing. He had a commanding presence on the field of play, constantly communicating with his teammates. He was a player coach on the field, leading always by example. Christian Chukwu was the real chairman, a complete gentleman, deceptively soft on the outside, but as hard as steel and stubborn like a bull on the inside. The permanent smirk on his face, like a smile, is deceptive. He is a no-nonsense man that would always speak his mind on any subject, particularly when it concerns the welfare of players. His colleagues, us, loved and respected him. The nickname chairman was his, given to him forever by late Ernest Okonkwo. In today's football, the player that best reminds me of Christian on the football field, who plays closest to how Christian did between 1974 and 1980 for both Rangers International and the Green Eagles of Nigeria, is Virgil van Dijk of Liverpool FC and Holland. Christian's life was impacted deeply by the Civil War. He always had a mission behind his football. His determination to win, his do or die attitude, his fighting spirit, his patriotism, all were rooted in that experience. He loved Rangers International FC and the Green Eagles with uncommon pride and passion. And most importantly, he loved Nigeria and the country's green, white, green flag.